check, test. Where's the video? Okay, come on. Oh, good. Alrighty. Good evening, everybody. Hi, Rich. Tim Myers is in the house. Tom Downey. Be sure and drop a comment over in the chat window. Let us know who you are and where you're watching from tonight. See, Tom's in Texas. Tim's in Ohio. Richard's in Germany. So it's the middle of the night for him. Early morning, however you want to look at it. A quick aside. Rich, I got your furniture all tucked away over here, hiding in the corner of the garage here. You can see it over there on the left side of the screen, I suppose, after I move this out of the way. So it'll sit there until I get the floors redone, which will be, after it warms up a little bit, because we got slammed today, I'll tell you that. Had a pretty interesting day. I'll share that information, some more of it with you here in a bit when a few more people get connected. It always takes just a few minutes for people to get dialed in and ready to go. So, hope everybody else has had a great week. I had a pretty productive week, all things considered. No complaints. Of course, as always, your RV related questions, well, any question really is open. Just drop it in the comment window there, and we'll answer your questions if we can. I've got a couple follow-ups on some stuff that we looked into over the last couple of live streams. We got Round Town Scouter, who looks like he must be escaping the cold and is in Carlsbad. Great to have you in. And then Robert Black, I am well. Thank you. Thank you very much. 77. Yeah. Well, since I'm kind of sharing, hello, Aaron. Great to have you in. Since we're just kind of dragging our feet a little bit, let's see. Let me flip back over here to, let me get this over here and out of the way. One of these days I'm going to improve this. I've been saying this for how long now? Months, years. So there's what it looks like here tonight. At 3 o'clock there wasn't a flake on the ground. We've got, I'm going to say we probably got an inch out there, but it's still snowing. Those of you that are really observant might note over here in camera 4, and that's a new pickup sitting out there. Well, new to me. It's not new. Nobody in their right mind's going to buy a new pickup today. I'll tell you what, man. The prices on pickups is just out of control. But yeah, I managed to run down a pickup, newer pickup. That's a 2011 Chevy Silverado 3500 extra cab long box. It's got the 6-liter in it, which basically is 366 cubic inches or something like that. And it's a runner. I really enjoy it. I've had it about, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks now, something like that. I actually found it online, and I had been watching it and watching it and watching it and watching it, and for a couple of months the price kept falling and falling and falling. And I guess it's just because, everybody wants these quad cab short boxes. Well, I got a camper. I don't want a short box. I want a long box. And so it just fell and fell and fell. And finally I decided, well, I really like the looks of it. It had low miles on it. Only had 122,000 miles on it. And so I called and I said, would you take, well, I offered him 2,000 less than it was listed for online. And of course the salesman, oh no, they'll never take it. They'll lose money. And I said, well, I've done the research and they give you a link to Carfax, right? And so I went and checked Carfax, and they had clearly had it since June, and it had been sitting on their lot for almost 6 months. And they were paying flooring on it. And for those of you that don't know what flooring is, that's what car dealers pay in interest to have those cars on the lot. They don't own those cars. It's almost like a construction loan. If you've ever had a construction loan on a house where you're kind of just paying the interest on the loan while you're using the money, well, that's what flooring is to a car dealer. And I just told the guy, I says, they're losing money on it already. Go make them the offer. And he says, well, I'll call you back. About 30 minutes later, he called me back and says, yeah, we'll take it. So I get down to Brigham City, Utah. Sorry. I was outside in the wind all day. That's another story that I'll tell here in a bit. But Brigham City is, maybe 95, 100 miles south of here towards Salt Lake, just down I-15. And so I pull in, and I arranged my own financing. I did it through my credit union. I pull in the Subi and take care of all the paperwork, give him the check and everything. And so we're walking out, and he's looking at me kind of funny, and he said, "You're by yourself, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, how are you going to get home?" I said, "Dude, just watch." And so he walks out there with me, and I pull the truck over and put it in an empty space in the lot, and I pull the car over behind it, and I get in the back, and I pull out the tow gear, my tow bar, and everything that I used, on the RV, and hooked everything up. And he just said, "I've never seen this before in my life." I says, "You've never seen anybody towing a vehicle down the road with an RV?" "Well, yeah, I've seen that." I says, "Well, I've towed this Subaru 50, 60,000 miles behind my RV. And so, yeah, it tows like a dream." The only thing is that the brake system didn't work properly. It kept herky-jerking. But I think that was because I had a bad ground. I don't think the ground was very good between the car and the pickup. And of course, I'm down there on a car lot. I didn't take time to dig into, what was causing. I figured it was ground. It just acted like a bad ground. So anyway, that was a couple weeks ago when I brought it home. And I've enjoyed it quite a bit. Let's see. Let's go over to the chat window. And again, just a quick reminder for those just connecting. If you have an RV-related question, you can throw it over in the chat window. Or if you just want to say hi and let us know where you're watching from tonight, that'd be great to know as well. So we got Terry Jenny. Is that Jenny? I hope I got that right, from Michigan. Hi. Aaron's in the house. Aaron, great to see you. Happy to have you in moderating. As always, doing such a great job. Abilene, Texas, 79 degrees. Yeah, not 79 here. We won't see that for quite a while. Amanda Potter. I don't know. What's Vask Tech? Is that some kind of somebody trying to spam me? Well, we'll watch her. Or them, whoever it is. Tom Downey, your dead battery issue is back. 2 weeks, it goes dead. Just the engine batteries. Do you not have a solar maintainer on that? I can't remember if we... you don't have a little solar panel on the roof to help maintain those batteries? But wow. I wonder what's going on there. There's something going on. You must have something that's on the coach side. Let me think about this, because you've got the same rig I have, basically. And remind me, Tom, are you on a Spartan or a Freightliner chassis? Foodporn Chef, hey, Dad is doing fine. Still down in San Diego in this storm. Yeah, that storm is here. The best part of my week so far, gosh, I don't know. I bought a chainsaw today. I had to. I lost a tree. And I'll flip over here and show you some stuff around that. I went down to get my booster today. I went down to get my third booster, whatever you want to call it, for the COVID crap. And I'm getting over to the folder here, sorry. There we go. Okay, so anyway, I was just on my way home, and my neighbor called, and I didn't hear the phone ringing, but when I pulled up, I could see why he was calling. let me pop this over here and let's see here. Okay, couldn't go over here to this. Let's transition back. So that's what I came home to today. It missed his house by a foot, maybe. I mean, it was close. That's almost a 40-foot tree there that got blown down today. We had these hellacious winds. At the airport, they had a 68-mile-an-hour gust. I know here at my house, I recorded a 52-mile-an-hour gust on my little weather station. But yeah, got that today. And then, let's see, I went over to my security camera, and this is at about 10:42. And if you watch up here in the top corner, you can see that tree rocking, and whoops, there it goes. So, but if I stop it right here real quick, you can see here how the ground is cracking. Okay, and then yeah, it just lets go. But look at this oak tree here in this side. I mean, and then it just mashed that metal table there. I offered to pay him for it. He didn't take it. He wouldn't take it. So, I guess we'll see. But I'll do something nice for him. Let's see. And then, so I had to go out, and I've been wanting to do this for a while, and that was get a chainsaw. And just look at how the wind's blowing out there. That's 40, 45-mile-an-hour winds. But that's Rick, my neighbor there. He's helping me load this onto the truck. We're going to haul it out to the dump. But so I guess the best part of my day this week was buying a chainsaw. I had been wanting to get a chainsaw so I could cut firewood. I live in the mountains where we have trees. And that you can cut and burn. Well, a lot of the country does. And so, this year I did some horse trading. I sold that Ford that I had to a guy that cuts and hauls wood. And so I sold it to him, and then I horse traded him some firewood to make up what I thought was the difference, because truck prices are so high right now. But it worked out good. That was probably the best part of my week so far, is having to buy a chainsaw. I got a Robii, Home Depot, Robii, 16-inch, 37cc. It cuts pretty good. It cut that tree down, and we had that cut up and hauled off in 2 hours, maybe 2 hours, 3. I mean, I was here having a cup of coffee at 3 o'clock, and we started just about noon to get that tree cut up and get it out of there. I kept all of the the big rounds for firewood. Of course, I won't be able to burn those till next year. Gina Gibson, hello, great to have you in. 30 degrees in Germany, so you got about what we got, Richard. Okay, Tom Downey, you're on a Spartan and no solar. It probably wouldn't hurt, to do a solar panel, to do a battery maintainer, a 20 watter with this charge controller. You're probably into it for $100, and you could run that down the back cap. You could put the panel up on the back of the rig if you needed to, and then that rear cap, that's pretty much hollow. Right, I mean, you can get clear up and in behind that rear cap all the way up to the top. It's a stretch, but you could definitely fish some, your charge cables down, and your batteries are right there. And so mine came with it, and when I replaced the roof, I put a 20 watt up, and it had a 10, but I put a 20 watt up, which was the exact same size, but it just, higher efficiency panels, because the panel that was up there was from 2004. But it's maintained the batteries. I was out to do the maintenance run on Rusty, my RV. I guess it was late last week. Time flies. And I think, Rich, I'm going to have to change out those chassis batteries for you. But I'll take care of that. It was a little grinder to get rolled over. I don't have the house batteries out there. They've been pulled out. They're stored in my basement just because of freezing weather. Not that it's going to damage them. The way the Battleborns work is they'll charge down to 28 or 22. It's somewhere down in there. It's pretty low. And then they quit providing power, I think, at minus 4C, which is pretty good, really. No, yeah, that's right. I think it's minus 4C. Anyway, that's pretty low. But, yeah, that's weird, Tom, that you're still having that problem with the battery draining. You know what might be... you might try turning off... they call it the salesman switch. I hate that term. But it's the chassis battery disconnect. Now, on my chassis, it's in the rear. And it's, right there on the rear frame of the motor. And you might turn that off and just see if there's something inside that you notice isn't working. I think... I'm trying to remember if my LP sensor was on the chassis or on the house. I would think it's on the house batteries. I could check that. The next time I go out to the RV, I'll check that and see. But, yeah, that's odd. There's got to be something dragging it down. Tim Myers, yeah. It looks like it killed Santa. It came close. Actually, Santa's one of those blow-up things, and so he's only up and on his feet at night when he's got the neighbor's got his Christmas lights on. But yeah, Robert, I got the Robii. Yeah, one hell of a Christmas tree for sure. I hate to lose a tree like that. And I'm guessing that tree was 25 years old, maybe a little older than that. But yeah, it's a drag to lose a tree like that. I'm just glad that it didn't do any more damage than it did. I'd have hated it if it had hit their house and caused damage to their house. That would have been a real drag. Food Porn Chef says, Odin heard my cries and blessings to new chainsaw. Always fun to get new tools. Yeah, I'll be able to use it. I was wanting one this spring. I was doing some work with some fence posts and I needed to cut them off. I just used a skill saw, of course. But I got an early Christmas present and I got a Makita circular saw and a Makita a demolition saw. I don't know what they call those, but they're the big demolition saws, But yeah, that was an early Christmas present. Coffee's always good, yes. Tom Downey says, I'm thinking it's a bad setting on the inverter. Victron is being called. Yeah. I don't get the chassis. Yeah, that's a weird one. I'm sure going to be following along with that to figure out what's going on. Yeah, my chassis batteries are lead acid too. They're just Interstate Group 34s, I think. It's a pair, obviously. On Class A's, usually they are a pair. Thank you, Aaron, for the nice commercial there. Yeah, as a reminder, you can support me on Amazon. That's greatly appreciated. Geardot gave a nice little super chat even before the chat started tonight. And I don't know if he's back in or not, but if he is, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Visit my website at terrabone.com, and that's a good place you can also support me. Check out some of my content over there. Any questions or comments? Well, this might be a short one tonight. Hi, Lola Ranch. Awesome to have you in. Big storm coming your way. It's here now. Yeah, it's definitely here now. I think winter is upon us. It's trying to take hold. And okay, well, I guess I'll catch you up a little bit on the truck camper. I got all the siding off, and the damage is mostly up front. It's just the cab over part, so that's not too bad. The problem is I'm having a hard time finding the siding. It's a typical what they call mesa siding. Actually, I have a piece here. Well, actually, I have several pieces, but this is what they call a mesa type siding. I think you can see it better on this piece. So you can see how it has has this, which they call the mesa, right? The bump up piece. This is called the valley, okay? Mesa Valley. And this measures 1.5 here and 3/4 in the valley. So it's 1.5 on the mesa, 3/4 in the valley. And you can't find it anywhere. I can find 1x1, 2x1, 1x2, 2x2, every other combination. And of course, there's companies out there that will make, that can make it for you. But that's a custom upcharge. Gosh, it's, and I thought about doing fiberglass. The name of those panels escaped me. Phylon. I thought about doing Phylon, and that was pretty expensive. It was looking like it was probably going to be, to do the job right and not have a lot of seams, it was probably going to be just around $700 for the material. And that's not that bad, but where you get into it is the glue you need to use to make it last is really expensive. It's like $300 a gallon. So I was talking to a friend of mine that's all into boats and does boat repair, refiberglassing boats and that kind of stuff. And he suggested one that they've used in the marine industry. And I would think, marine's going to be even tougher than, more durable than what you would use for like an RV. Now keep in mind, the reason you need to use, it's a neoprene contact cement is what it is. But the reason you need to use a neoprene is because it stays flexible, right? And those things rock and rake and, move as they go down the road. And so you need to use a flexible adhesive because otherwise it just breaks and then the siding will separate. And as you saw in the videos, if you watch the videos, I have lots of siding separated on that. That's what's caused some of the trouble. I do need to replace some of the siding. There's a couple pieces with holes in it. I think those were up in the front corner. And actually, I was looking at that really close when I was taking the siding off because I was curious as to why that one hole looked like it had been eroded rather than hit by something. There was a larger hole, and I decided it was from electrolysis, and because there was a screw in a piece of wood right below that, a metal screw, and the head was up, right? So a carbon screw, and the head was lifted on it. They're panhead screws, right? They're countersunk screws, but this one hadn't gone in all the way. And so I was wondering if maybe that was electrolysis between the steel and the aluminum causing some problems. And you get the water in there, and yeah, you could easily get some kind of electrolysis going in there. So I was wondering about that, but I got to replace that piece. Yeah, I could patch the holes. There's lots of screw holes in it, right? In 3 or 4 pieces, there's quite a few screw holes. And but I thought I just wanted to do metal, so I'm trying to find an alternative. Now I've looked at galvanic corrosion. Thanks, Tim. That was exactly the words I was looking for. I'll cycle back here and then I'll come back to that story. Oh, I'd lost a tree today, Lola. You'll have to watch watch the first 5-7 minutes of the replay, and you'll get to see what's going on. Thank you, dear Dot. Uh, I hope I'm saying that right. Girardot. 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 Hope so. It's. Thank you so much. Aaron asks, "What has been my favorite RV DIY project?" Well, it's a tie. There's three of them. Yeah, it's a tie. Three of them. And the first, the most satisfactory, the most satisfying, and the one that probably made the biggest, well, maybe the second biggest impact on my enjoyment of the RV as a residential fridge upgrade. That really changed, and I just reproduced that video because the old videos were 4 years old and kind of crappy. I leave those old videos up just for legacy. I like to go back and watch them just so I can see how much I've improved. But that one was probably the most impactful, the most convenient, and one of the easiest too was the tankless water heater. That was a life changer. No more Navy showers. Wink, wink to all my military friends, especially Aaron, who was Navy. No more Navy showers, that kind of stuff. So that was nice. And it sipped propane. That's why I'm going to go ahead and put another one in the truck camper. That thing, it sipped propane. It was just super efficient. Now, if you got to altitude, I was at roughly 9,300 feet altitude in Montana the second year after I put that water heater in, and that was pre YouTube for me. And the water was cold, right? It was cold because I was at altitude, and the water in my tank was cold, and it struggled to give me a 105-degree shower. So it was a hurry up, get in and out kind of a shower. But other than that, that was the only problem I ever had with it. But you got to keep in mind is that gas appliances derate at altitude because there is less oxygen in the air. So they don't burn as efficiently. They don't make as many BTUs as is shown on the label. So you might have a furnace that makes 30,000 BTUs at sea level where they're measured, but you get to 9,000 feet, and that furnace might only make 1,900, 19,000, maybe 21,000. You're going to lose 20-25% of the efficiency on that furnace or that appliance. Depending upon the appliance, that's not universal across all of them, but that's a good swag as you go up in altitude like that. Then the third, probably most convenient, was the hardwood floors. Getting those carpets out of that thing was, that was a good one. And I felt really good about that. I mean, I had to work hard. It took me 4 or 5 tries to get the angles right, to get the slide to climb up and come up onto that hardwood floor. It took, I had to juggle those angles quite a bit. And, but I got it figured out. It was a 30 and a 60 is the way it worked out best. But that floor was just so easy to maintain. No more, I didn't have a vacuum anymore. I just had a broom. And so that was probably another really good favorite of mine. The lighting, upgrading all the lighting, doing that myself, refitting the fluorescent lights with LEDs was really, really satisfying, really, really rewarding. Mostly because, to buy those fixtures, those LED fixtures, you're looking at $70-$80. And I did it myself for, I think it was $8 and change a fixture, all in. And, maybe after I've done 2 or 3 of them, 25-30 minutes of my time. So that was I think, a good one too. Anyway, let's see. Lola, the weather it turned off and snowed on us. Cold, windy, the wind blew down a tree. That should be there tomorrow as fast as it was moving. It might go further north and you might miss it. It might hit Montana and Wyoming really hard. But yeah, we had a really rocker roll in today. Robert Black asks, for winter protection in the basement on the 5th, will keeping the inside, say, 40 degrees keep the basement above freezing? Potentially. It kind of depends on how much insulation is in the floor. You might want to add some. What's your low temperature? What's your lowest temperature you'll see, Robert, in the winter? And I'm assuming you're trying to protect your plumbing from freezing. But what's your low temperature in the winter? Tim Myers. Oh yeah, okay. Tim was just asking for clarification. I read it as keeping the basement above freezing. Food Porn Chef. Why not use aluminum, airplane aluminum, and rivets? Well, that's a good question. I could use flat aluminum, but rivets are generally intended to rivet from metal to metal, and this is wood. The whole frame is 1x2s, 1x3s, 1x4s. And so, riveting to wood, you can do, right? I mean, but it seems like that by the time you get the right rivets and that kind of stuff, and it might be more time consuming and maybe difficult. I don't know, it might work perfectly. I've also considered using flat aluminum, stuff like that. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I might do. I looked at cedar, right? I really like cedar siding. My house that I built in over in South Central Idaho was cedar sided. People complain about the maintenance, but if you use good quality stuff, the maintenance isn't that much of an issue. And especially like on a truck camper, what am I going to have to do? Restain it every couple of years at most. So nothing to worry about there. So I'm looking at cedar, but even that looks like it might be cost prohibitive. We'll just have to see how it turns out. I'm bringing up something else here to share with you. I have been working on getting the truck camper catted up. I clearly have a big piece of pitch, sorry, that's been bugging me for 25 minutes now on my arm. A pitch off the tree I had to cut down today. So, at any rate, I'm kind of looking at cedar. I saw somebody. Oh, Rich Kirby says old airplanes were done with aluminum and screws. Yeah, I don't like the look of the screws on the surface. That's my only complaint about that. I do like the hidden seams. Stuff like this siding has. Oh shoot. I'm trying to remember what they call this seam. I think it's an S. It's like an S. It looks like a Z to me, but they call it an S seam. And so they lock together, but and then of course the Phylon, which would be fiberglass. I'm going to flip over here and let you see something else that I was working on. Let me pop this. I've got to flip things around here a little bit so you can kind of see what you can see. There we go. So I'm working on getting it catted. I just kind of got the one side roughed out. I got a couple dimensions to verify, but it's all cocooned up in a tarp. So let's see now. If I go in here, I've actually started putting together some of the framing. So if we zoom in here a little bit, I'll just flip off these dimensions real quick. Sorry, there we go. Clean that up. So you can kind of see I'm working on getting the structure put in here, figuring out where all of the cross members and pieces are, those sorts of things. And what's nice about this now is I can actually get my measurements I need, to determine how much like tape you need, seam tape, how much it'll come to me. Butyl tape I'm going to need. There's not a lot of lap sealing on it, but I'll tell you what, I got into the roof, and you might have heard me say this last week, but I got into the roof, and because I have to finish taking the metal off the front, and there's a curve up there that goes from the top of the windows, and it, where it transitions into the roof. And the old owner used that asphaltic roof repair, and it's glopped on there 3/8 of an inch thick. And I'll tell you what, I spent 2 hours with my heat gun, with one of those, Wagner heat guns, the 1,000-degree jobbies, and putty knives, scraping that stuff up. I got my work ahead of me to get that cleaned up. But I seem to remember, I know this is a little dangerous, but it may be the only thing that works, is my grandpa used to use gasoline to clean that stuff up. And honestly, I used gasoline to clean parts for a while. I mean, when I was young, that's what you cleaned parts with, was gasoline. You didn't have parts cleaner. Yeah, Tom, it's fun when they don't mix shit anymore, for sure. Can I put solar generator power station, i.e. EcoFlow Delta Max, to tie it into the yes, travel trailer power supply system? Absolutely. I don't know the EcoFlow, what kind of outputs it has on it, but there's nothing that says you can't take and use a plug and put a plug on a breaker in your travel trailer, right? And or make a two-headed plug and reverse feed your travel trailer from that. So use with extreme caution. I always get scared when I start telling electrical things to people. But here's first off is, if you're going to feed your RV travel trailer with something like that, you must be disconnected from utility power. You cannot be on shore power, period. If you are, and there's somebody working down the line, and they get across that, your 110 volt power can actually turn into 14,000 or more volts, yes, believe it or not, down the line, and kill a lineman that might be working on a line somewhere. So you absolutely must disconnect the main power. You pull the plug from the pedestal if you're in an RV park. Now, if you're sitting out in the boondocks, then you're okay. Now, you can take a circuit that and you can make a plug with a male plug on one end and a male plug on another, and use it as a jumper, and go from that power station into that plug, and that's going to feed your whole RV. It's as simple as that. Okay? You got to be careful, because you're going to overload that thing pretty fast. Now, if it has two outputs, let's say it's 2,000 watts, but you only get 1,000 watts out of each plug, then do two. Do two of those jumpers, bing, bang, boom, go into the same outlet. Most outlets are duplex anyway, and that's fine. But keep in mind that those outlets may be only 15 amps. So there's some other juggling there. But that's where I'm going to end the discussion. You can do it. You make damn sure you're not connected to the pedestal power, and you'll be all right. Yeah, Tom Downey says, thank God we never had to deal bad carpet appliances. Yeah, it seems overwhelming when you first look at a project like that. But like the fridge, in reality, it took less than a day in total hours. I mean, it took me 2 days, because, there was a trip to 60-mile round trip to Home Depot, and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it's easy to look at those and get overwhelmed, and in reality, it's really not a lot of work. Yeah. Okay, Tim asks, where's the best place to pick up a sliding unit to put in a storage bin for my toolbox? Um, you can actually, if you don't want to pick one up, they're easy enough to make. You can get some heavy duty full extension slides, just build a box frame, and then just bolt your toolbox or strap it to it, or build a shelf, right? Just build a roll out shelf that's, just deep enough to hold the toolbox but not impede the bottom drawer opening. But if you want to buy one of those pull-outs, I've never looked for one, but I bet you any of the major RV suppliers would probably have one. I'm thinking, in the newer Newmars, they put the freezers in those, and those are on those little pull-out trays, and that would be the perfect size for a toolbox. Now that I think about it, so they're made out there. I just not sure, who to recommend or where to go find one. I mean, but yeah, those drawers, that'd be easy enough to make as well. I'm just thinking out loud now, just spitballing. But Food Porn Chef says thanks. Oh, he says he boondocks a lot, and he's just looking at different things. Yeah, totally, I get it. I'm always, like I say, this world is so happy, and I could just see, so I'm going to disclaimer this again. I can just see somebody doing this. Oh yeah, I never thought of that. Jumper. I think of it as like a patch cable, just like a Cat 5 patch cable, right? It's the same thing. Instead of doing 5 volts, at a couple milliamps, you're doing 110 volts at maybe 10 amps, maybe 12. But yeah, pay attention to the numbers and don't overload the circuits, and do it at your own risk. If you blow yourself up or you blow somebody else up, I'm not liable. Okay. Bottom line is I'm telling you not to do it. But you can do it if you want. Hope that disclaimers it enough. Tim Myers responds back to Aaron. I've also used lamps made to heat dog houses. The glass is coated and heats but does not put out light. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, one of my favorites is a work lamp, like Aaron mentioned, is really, I think, effective. If you could find an incandescent bulb, not LED, like he says, LEDs don't put off enough heat, but an incandescent bulb will, like a 60 watts, enough to keep most water bays, warm. And then you might also just take and invest in a little piece of foam, add another half inch or an inch of foam. Just cut out a foam board big enough to fit in the compartment. That'll help add a little bit more insulation to it. Yeah, hi Randy, welcome. Great to have you in tonight. Yes, Tim. Heavy-duty drawer slides, full extension, 300-pounders. You can get 300-pounders. If you know somebody that works around computers and servers, server slides. I've done this myself. I did this for some drawers in my house in Idaho. I had these huge drawers underneath my workbench, and that would put tools in, so they were 12, 14 inches deep, and they're this wide, and I'm putting skill saws, and this is back in the day when everything plugged in, just about. But I used slides from server racks that would hold 300-pound servers, and I just adapted them, welded a tab on each end, and then used those as drawer slides. And yeah, they were full extension, and they ran better than a lot of the heavy duty drawer slides you can buy today. But yeah, you'd want heavy duty, obviously, because the toolbox can weigh a fair amount. Yeah, I think making one should be pretty easy. Food Porn Chef says, my Hughes 30 AM hardwire EPS emergency protection system won't allow my gas generator in because my gas generator is surging so much, I think. I need to adjust the carburetor for gas and airflow. You mean governor. Um, yeah, that's cool. I totally get it. The the Hughes, yeah, I've heard issues with the autoformers and generators. The autoformers overheating. Um, Trying to remember who told me that. I'm gonna have to run that down, but yeah, I've heard there's issues with the autoformers on generators, because here's the thing, generators, the frequency can float a bit, and frequency is a little bit more important than the actual voltage when it comes down to a lot of electronic gear. A lot of like electronic gear, computers, stuff like that, clocks, use the power line frequency as a clock, okay, as a timer, if you will, in electronic circuits. And because it's a constant oscillator, it's like back in the old days of the quartz watch. You remember when the quartz watches came out? Well, they were so accurate because that little crystal in there vibrated so consistently. Like the power system, it's usually really close to 60 hertz, 50 if you're in Europe, Richard. But on a generator, especially one that is surging or not syncing up and running at whatever its governed speed is, which is usually, by the way, 1800 RPMs. That makes the math easy to get from 1800 RPMs to 60 hertz. I won't go into it in total, but I built a number of emergency generation systems for server rooms, and so I got my education from guys that know their poop. I mean, real engineers with real degrees that have real big ass brains. But so frequency can also be a real problem. And those Hughes autoformers are not going to like frequency variations very much. Tom Downey says he has slides, loves them, they take space. Yeah, there's a full slide out drawer in the one compartment that runs from the midline out on the passenger side, first one up from the rear tire, and that's a slide out tray like that. It's super handy because you can put big heavy stuff on there and get it way back inside, and then when you pop the handle and pull it out, it gives you really good access. But yeah, you probably lose that much in the slide mechanism and carriage and all that stuff. But yeah, they're super handy. Thank you, Aaron, for the reminder. For a cheap commercial, to give me that thumbs up if you enjoy the content. Those always greatly help. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Ring the notification bell. Happy to interact with you in comments, or you can come early. I'm usually in about quarter to the hour. So about 6:45 Mountain Time, I usually come in, get sat down at my desk, get the camera set up, get the lights all turned on, that kind of stuff. And so I'll sit here and chat. I know that Tim and I chatted for a good 15 minutes tonight, and you're always welcome to come in and chat for the pre function if you'd like. So we'll go back to the comments here a little bit. Those are. Excuse me for just 1 minute. I'm not liking this. Okay, I was just making one adjustment here. Lola Ranch says, some of the technical stuff you all talk about is over my head. Yeah, that's why I don't generally, get down into the rabbit hole too far, um, if I can avoid it. But yeah, sometimes it's fun to noodle. Yeah, that's a good point, Tim. Tim says, ask away, Lola. There are lots here that would love to help you out. Yes. Um, I'm happy to talk about any of this stuff in greater detail of anybody that wants to hear about it. If there's stuff that I have, expertise in, I'm more than happy to share my knowledge. Um, yeah, that's awesome. That's why I do this. And I try to keep it mostly to RVing. Sometimes I give a little personal update at the beginning just to, give folks a chance to connect. But yeah, it's awesome, and it's winter. Not a lot of people thinking about RVing. So everybody that does come and watch and participate is amazing. Thank you so much. Cycling back through the comments here real quick. Food Porn Chef says he learned the hard way to use a float plug. And then he corrects a floating ground plug. Yeah, you got to do that. There's all kinds of things that you need to do. But yeah, Lola says, before getting heated hose, I turned off the water for the night, but I kept the water heater on, had water. Did I ruin the water heater? No. No. You'd have to drain a lot of the water out of that water heater, and then it's got an over temperature protection device on it, so it's only going to heat up to a certain point. And if there was less water in there, it would never boil it out. That's what I'm trying to say, is it would never boil out. It's going to get to whatever the set point is, 125, 130 degrees, and shut off. And the water level, if the water level goes down, it's going to just not run because it'll just turn on, it'll get hot real instantly, and the safety protections will come on and it'll shut itself off. So you're good. You're welcome. Okay, last go round at 7:52. I didn't think we'd make it this long tonight. I can tell you I'm sore, because I got my COVID here, and it's sore. It's not bad, but it's feeling it. I suppose maybe I'll run back over here just real quick and show you the results of the day, for those that were late to the party, because I shared this a little bit early. Sorry to bore those of you that saw this earlier, but I just come over here and show you that was what I came home to today at about 10:42. It fell down. We had her cut up and hauled off and cleaned up in about 3 hours. So yeah, we had this huge windstorm, and now it's snowing. So that's winter in Idaho. Okay, yeah, no worries, Lola. Great to have you, get you that peace of mind. That's why we're here. Okay, anything else? Okay, so next week is the 21st. I will be here next week. The following week, I believe, is the 28th. And I'll know next week for sure if I'm going to be here on the 28th, but I might actually take the 28th and potentially the 4th off from doing the live stream. I've just got a couple things going on, and so I might end up taking those 2 weeks off. I still have plans to have a video up on Sundays on the truck camper renovation, at least for the next 3 or 4 weeks, and until I run out of side work that I can do, because I'm maintaining the windows, I'm getting all of the lap sealant off of those, or I should say the butyl tape. I haven't started polishing the acrylics yet, but that's not going to be that big a deal to get those taken care of. That's that's just a couple hours worth of work when it comes right down to it. So let me slip back here. I'll just recycle the comments and make sure I didn't overlook something. Oh, Tom Downey says we stayed 3 winters in Alaska, 40 below degrees. Problems with the water heaters. Yeah, winters in Alaska. Well, back when I was a kid. Sound like a boomer, don't I? Because I am. We used to walk 10 miles uphill both ways in 30 degrees below zero. Well, the truth of the matter is that we did walk to school. It was 6 blocks in 25 degree below zero weather. I remember in 1969, that January, the whole month it never got above zero, day or night. All right. Oh yeah, I can't take a day off. Okay. It's still kind of tentative whether I'm tied up or not. So I'll know next week for sure, and I guess that's when I'll see you next time live is next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain, and then of course Sunday the live the premiere of the episode for this week, which is going to be a little bit different than say my normal video, because we're going to be talking about some questions that keep coming in, and they're all legitimate questions. I'm not calling anybody out for anything. But yeah, we're going to review some questions and have some heart-to-heart chat about, a project like that and motivations behind it and those sorts of things. So it's a little bit different than, the nuts and bolts of doing a project, but it's really important, especially for DIYers, to be thinking about a lot of the things I'm going to talk about on this Sunday's video. So I invite you to join me then. But for now, one last look at the chat. Fairbanks winners. There you go. Tim Myers is a fan. Lola says she can't like. It's not showing for her tonight. Are you logged in? Because sometimes that will stop you. No, you'd have to be logged in. You're commenting. That's weird. Okay, no worries. Remember, Tom started flying in Alaska in 1956. Man, you're old. We're going to leave it at that. Good night, folks. Until we get together next time, peace. Bye-bye. See you next week.